You're the fast I am Emo Bibi. And I am the humble Mr. Brando.
Weezy F Baby. Shout out to Weezy. Shout out to Teresa. Shout out to Brian. Hopefully more come in, you know. It's a casual conversation, you know, about our favorite investment, where we are, what we're doing, what you can expect. And, you know, I thought, you know, today I would bring forth some information. There's a lot out there, man. Like, wow. If you have seen the YouTube banter, and you're probably thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, man, what is going on with these YouTubers? You know what, man? I'm going to tell everybody like this here. I have no beef with anybody. If somebody can't take you poking fun with them and if I was in this to be 100% correct, like I've always said, I'd pick lottery numbers or stock picks. It pays better. But no, we've all got to ride our own path. We got to live our own truth. Okay. So don't allow ourselves to get caught up into mess that has nothing to do with us. Okay. Ego means easing God out. That's what ego means. And we've all been there. I felt it before. You know, I've said things about, you know, people and things like, man, I said that first. Or I was right about that. You were wrong. And you know what? That's probably wrong too. And so when someone does it against you, you got to say to yourself, you know, hey, that's not cool. So you know what? You reap what you sow. Now, with going with saying that, you got to understand that being factual and being right are two different things. If I argue with somebody and I win the argument, that made me right, but that doesn't make me factual. Facts remain facts, and the problem with facts are you can't dispute them. Number one, we knew that the Minister of Education had been seated. We had been seated in 2018. Whether they want to say publicly or not publicly that minister's been removed, that's up to them. But I can prove it to you through Wikipedia that is fact, not fiction. And I got the Wikipedias and I got the documents to prove it. So the thing about that is, hey, man, glad to see you too, John. Yeah, Teresa, I know that one YouTuber. Yeah, he's a YouTuber. Don't even give him the satisfaction of being called a guru. I'm not a guru. I'm anti-guru all the way. But don't even call this person, this individual, a guru. They're not even a guru. They're just somebody spouting what they want to because they feel like they need to be popular. They're missing something in their life. That something could be love. It could be affection. It could be attention. But, you know, hey, we're not going to, you know, feed into the negativity because being a kangaroo is not about being negative. Remember what theme, everybody's always makes it. We always make it. So I thought it'd be interesting tonight if we could just take a few minutes and, you know, go through a few things like the SBA and why the SBA is very important and that being taken care of as it should be, and as well as a few other things. You know, we want to talk about that. We want to talk about the super interesting article about Article 140. That Article 140 was like, wow. If you missed it, you've got to allow me right now to post the article in Patreon so everybody can see it that has not seen it. I think it's very important that as you gather news, especially important news like this, that, you know, you're not afraid to share it. The reason why I'm not sharing this on YouTube is not for any other reason, but I feel like the conversation I want to have be candid, be open, be honest. If a few, words of undesirable take effect, I don't want to be judged for it. I just want to have a good time. I want to talk to y'all. I don't do this on Sundays much. I believe Sundays are for you resting, being with your family. But I feel like today is warranted with, what's going down. Now, a lot of people are really confused about what the SBA is, the standby agreement, what it means about the last payment that's made, how it's handled, where things, go to, what's going on. Excuse me here. But you got to understand. Oh, there's Lee right there. Hey, Lee.
Whatever. Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey, man, it's all good. I was just telling everybody I wanted to have a very open and honest conversation. I don't want it. The reason why we're not putting this on YouTube is I don't want it judged like that.
I agree with you 100% on that.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not. This is okay. You guys, I don't mind things for debate on a certain level, just as Pempe does and other people don't. And I posted an article on Article 140 in case anybody missed it. Usually I would just go ahead and leak that information. And when I say leak it, I mean get on like YouTube and get on, not YouTube, but I'd get on Facebook, I'd get on Twitter, I'd get on Instagram, I'd leak that information because as others would come out and say it behind it, you know where they got it from. And stuff like this, now that we're down to basically what we're all believing to be actually the very finish of the finish line, I don't think it's so much important to be first as that you need to be accurate and you need to be committed to what's about to happen to you and understand that as your life changes in the next weeks here, I believe that how do I post in chats? Holy cats, I'm not techie. Janelle, just go to YouTube, or not YouTube, YouTube, click on the link, hit the live chat key, which is over off to the right or the left, I believe. And I think that's the way you do it, and as far as I know. Hit the live. Okay, I'm doing it right now myself. So let's see what happened here. Okay, so it's not gonna be video. So where are my videos at? Okay, so I got 30 people watching. Now, when I do it, it automatically takes me to a screen. And what I would do is it's a thumbs up, thumbs down, and there's a live chat. I hit the live chat button and see where everybody is. And everybody's in there right there. Okay. So the reason why I want to invite Uncle Luke is not for moral support, but just Miss BB's got to get ready for her new job tomorrow. And I thought me and Uncle Luke could talk about this candidly. Anybody can call in. We can answer calls. If you want to call in and answer a question, call the normal phone line and ask any question you have, okay? First of all,
I was gonna say, I was gonna respond to what you were saying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wasn't. So I'm sure a lot of people have seen it by now. I think initially when I went to post the thing about the standby agreement and SDR thing, only because I felt like there was and we, we're cool with Jeff. We tease him and stuff, but lately on the videos, I was going, man, we kidding, we're joking with him. But for him to just say that, hey, if any other guru tells you different, they're wrong, they're lying. I was like, whoa, hold up here, Smokey. No, you did not. And so I felt compelled to respond because we do our research. I mean, right. Like I said, I'm like a pit bull when it comes to research, man. I'll tear things apart. So I almost felt like he was trying to kick me in my nuts, man. I was like, I ain't having it.
Well, and you know what? I'll say this. A lot of the King of Gurus came out and went in his chat and flamed his ass. Shout out to Teresa. Shout out to Bethany. They flamed him. He's been wrong. And I'm not about to get into everything he's been wrong about because this is not about the Jeff Patreon show. Yeah. This is what I feel about the Jeff Patreon show. Okay? I'm done with him. That man doesn't exist to me any longer. Okay? Whatever he wants to do is on him. Whatever I do is on me. And from now on, I don't speak his name. I'm not even joking about him. He's gone. Okay? Because my feelings about this are like this. What we're trying to do is take a handful of people and educate them to the point where not only are you thinking like a group, but you're thinking individually. The deals that we're going to make, I hope you make those same deals with 5 of your friends. 5 friends that you know that can go out and make some extra money so you can multiply. Then you come back, get some more ideas. Then you make some more money. Then you come back, make some more ideas. And you make money with us, you make money with your friends, and you multiply your platform until your platform is providing you with enough subsidy and enough fulfillment and enrichment. It doesn't mean you got to make money. It could be how many lives you touch. It could be how many homes you build. It could be how many meals you pass out. It doesn't matter sometimes about how much money you make if you're not concerned about money, because I think in this dinar investment, everybody's judgment gets clouded by whoever's first is right. That doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, that's the worst thing. We're seeing that in mainstream media right now, where people are always rushing to be the first, but look how many times that they get slammed for being wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, I'd rather be right than wrong. Now, I'm not going to run around and go, I'm the only guru that gives you 100% accuracy. I know I'm just playing, but you know what I mean? Like, my thing is, we first were teasing just because of that predicament. And my thing was, yeah, more power to you if you want to say that, but I wanted to joke about it a little bit. But now when you start saying, well, if the other people are telling you this, they are absolutely wrong, then I was like, okay, now that's different. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you want to joke or something, but when you start doing, and then, you know, you can say, well, that's not who I was talking about or whatever. But when you're a guy claiming that you're doing 100% accuracy, and then you're on, let's say, when it hits 27,000, now it's 28,000, you can't flip-flop like that, man, because people will zero in on that. People like Pippi. Pippi will find that shit, and he will zero in.
Well, hold on. Even the non-astute type of person is going to hone in on that, like myself, and say, wait a minute, you said 27,000, this will change. You said this will change when this changes. You said this changes. And then you put out a video basically 45 to an hour minutes later and say, oh, y'all, I was joking. I was kidding. But the idea I want to tell you guys is not about Jeff. It has nothing to do with Jeff. Me and Pimpe, Miss April, we're all cool with Jeff. We have no problem with Jeff. Jeff has the problem, not us, okay? So I want to let that go. And if you listen to Jeff and you believe in prophetic word, God bless you, for real. And in that, I mean everything. I'm not into it. Pimpe's into it. April's not.
I don't knock it. My thing is, you know, more power to you. But what I don't like is when people use God to try to either blame something or to give. Well, the truth of the matter is nothing happens without God in the first place. Okay, first and foremost, but for you people to go out there and say, you know, oh, this is going to happen on this day, and when it doesn't happen, turn around and go, oh, well, I talked to God, and God told me He changed His mind. No, don't do that. Do not be dragging God's name through the mud like that. All right.
God is never wrong, and God is never off time.
No, never wrong is exactly right. And whatever number you're calling God on, you need to change it because it's a wrong number.
Right.
It ain't gonna be like that, you know. So I just jokingly said, look, these people are like Miss Cleo. Remember her? Oh, today's, you know what I mean? There's enough people watching you. If you throw enough crap up against the wall, it's going to affect half the people that are listening. And they're going to go, hey, every time she says something, it does come true. Well, it's easy if you're being vague. But anyways, I digress in this area. Look, we were going to talk about the standby arrangement, what it is, the special drawing rights, you know, because what was said was this: Iraq does not owe any more money. And I was like, oh, no, you didn't, because they do, and I proved it. This is what I love about the group. Mr. B, and you can back me on this, or if you think different, then tell me.
No.
We try not to go in there and tell people how to think. We say, hey, based on our research, this is what it is. And a lot of times we say, you could go here to find out for yourself, or I'll post some links.
Right.
Because the truth of the matter is, don't take what we're saying. Go look for yourself.
Right.
So you're educating yourself on what to look for. So in the future, if other currencies come into this predicament, you know what to look for. You know what I mean? Educate yourself.
And we know for a fact there's about 186 countries that they're looking to revalue their currency. We can make this run last probably the next 20 years.
Yeah, well, yeah, you could probably.
Probably, if you want to storm chase currency.
You know what I've been targeting? You know who's next, right? I've been targeting? Who? You
can say it. You're safe in here.
Yeah, Venezuela. That's what I'm watching.
I know. I told you guys on camera the other day, Venezuela is on my freaking radar. You hear me?
Oh, they're high on my radar.
Oh my God. If you guys aren't looking at Venezuela like a dog on a bone, like Miss April looks at Dong, then you need to really, really, really like imagine for a minute. Venezuela is the new Vietnam.
Okay, but I do want to bring up something. People, you know, what was said was, you know, the market does affect the dinar. No, it doesn't at all. It affects the dong, the Vietnam dong. And the reason for that is There's a difference between a reinstatement, we talked about this, versus a revalue. In Vietnam's case, they haven't been invaded. Their currency isn't purposely being manipulated. What I mean by that is it's not being suppressed by the IMF or anybody like that,
right,
because of an invasion to protect their economy, to protect them from against corruptions, to protect them from invaders. That's not the case.
Right.
Vietnam is thriving, and they themselves are manipulating their currencies lower than a real value. Now, that's a revalue, okay? And the market does affect what the hell happens there. The stronger our dollar, the weaker we make other dollars. The weaker our dollar, the stronger theirs become. But also the GDP, their economy, the trade agreements, all those things play a key factor into what's going on with the Vietnam Dome. On the other side, Iraq, we're waiting for the reinstatement, but we're also watching the fact that all these new trade agreements are going on, because that tells me, well, once it's reinstated, what is the potential of it going up or down? You know what I mean? And right now, I could just say, when I see, there's no reason for it not to be the most valuable currency in the world. That's just my opinion.
Let's talk about the SBA real quick. Let's break it down for everybody so they understand it. So what's supposed to happen July 6th through July 19th, Pempe, in your opinion?
There's a deadline. The last of their disbursements, I guess, is the best way to label it. So over time so the IMF, as everybody knows, they have these different things called the special drawing rights. And what originally what the special drawing rights were brought up for in the first place was because back in the day, and you'll love this, but back in the day, not every country had enough gold to support the gold standard. So the IMF was created. What they could do is there's a basket of currency in which certain currencies would determine the values of other or the value of the money drawn out of the IMF. So countries who didn't have gold to exchange or gold to pay their debt, they could just take money from the special drawing rights, is what that is. And you would come up with these loan arrangements, and this money wouldn't come to you all at one time. It would come to you it'd be allocated to you. Those are called the standby arrangements. Everybody keeps saying agreements, but it's actually standby arrangements. On July the 9th, or the 6th, I think it was, I kept saying the 19th, but it was, Iraq had got their last of the agreed upon standby arrangements. You know what I mean? So basically what they're saying to them is, look, we're loaning you money. You have to tell them why you need the money and what you're doing with the money. If it makes sense to them, they'll keep lending it to you. Most of the time, they'll lend it to countries who don't have enough gold to support their country. That's not the case anymore with Iraq. They've been storing up really good on gold, but they still got this last amount. It isn't like an arm and a leg. It's an agreement that was made long ago. As a matter of fact, they lost 2 of those payment arrangements because they weren't dealing with the corruption that was going on there. So, this was the last of the ones they had arranged. So it is there now. It was handed to them. But they have to pay that back. And when the person said, Iraq does not owe any more money, I was like, the hell they don't. There's a list of all the countries and how much each one of them owes. And I put the links in 2 different locations for everybody to take a look at in the group, where you could go on there and see as plain as day directly from the IMF the amount of money owed. Wait, hold on. Whoa, there's a message coming from God, blah, blah, blah. No, just kidding. I'm playing people, man. I'm not mocking God. I'm just messing with you.
I know what you're saying, bro. That's funny.
I'm just saying, look, I would have had no problem with him saying something. We just kind of, said, hey, fed off one another. But when you say that another person is 100% wrong, you better expect there to be a retort. You know what I mean? So,
well, yeah, and exactly understand what this means. Basically, when the SBA is over and they don't need to borrow money from the IMF to support their economy, basically the IMF is the one that has everything to do with rates and that everything to do with reinstatement and all that. That's why there's articles 1 through whatever. So the IMF is important in this, is the U.S. Treasury. The reason why U.S. Treasury is important is because they're the ones supporting Iraq, because we invaded that country. And a lot of people don't understand that. Well, why is the U.S. involved? The U.S. is involved because we invaded Iraq, okay? When we invaded Iraq, took over, we basically took fiscal responsibility for them until, as a democracy, because that's the government we run, they could take over and do things on their own. So the IMF comes in and says, look, we're going to give you financial aid and we're going to give you services to get your country back on track, okay?
Now, the long short term It's only like 1 to 2 years.
Right,
like
3 years tops. It's supposed to be 3 years tops.
Yeah, there's no long drawn out thing. It's a short term loan is what it is. Okay, so yeah, but they again, its purpose is to help out members that are in, for one reason or another, need to take out their money. Okay, basically it's like this. It's like the credit union for people. You know how if you belong to a credit union, you could probably relate to this. Doing business with a bank ain't as easy or as cheap as dealing with the credit union.
Right.
When you're dealing with the bank, you got to pay higher interest loans. There's a lot of hoops you got to jump through. If you're dealing with a credit union, they make it very easy for you to deal with. Mine does. I can't speak about everybody's. Mine does. Very easy. And my loans, like when I get my auto loans, I go through them and I'm saving like 2, 3, 4% sometimes on auto loans because I've been with them for so long. Okay, so the IMF has these countries that kick into the special drawing rights bucket of money based on that to come up with the SDR rate. So that rate, based on what it is, every day it's configured based on what it is when you take out your loan. It's against that. It's pretty much, I don't want to say it's fixed. It's not. It does go up and down, but it's been pretty stable for a long time. So anyways, that's what you're paying back. You take out a loan for XYZ dollars. It's like going to the credit union. They make it very easy for you to get. And it's very easy for you to pay back. It's a short-term loan. It's just really in case the country's in dire need. And in Rock's case, they were.
Okay, now let me explain what Article 140 means real quick, okay? Article 140, I got it wrong on YouTube. And I'm going to correct it tomorrow, but I'm telling you guys tonight, because if you want to go out and spread the word about it, it's fine.
What? We're not 100% accurate now?
Oh, God, no. I'm never 100% accurate. I have to do my research, okay?
I'm just messing with you.
Well, no. Listen, let me tell you something, Pempe. I've made my bones about not being 100% right. You understand?
Yeah, whenever you said somebody April, I was like, God damn it, they're not gonna let that go, are they?
Well, you know what? And I'll tell them this. I said something about December last year. I'm always gonna listen. It's gonna happen. Listen, I have more than enough evidence. I think it's gonna happen. Okay, but the things that had to happen, the benchmarks that had to happen. One was the SBA. We knew that. One was the HCL. One was Article 140. All had to be addressed. Okay, if you go to the International Monetary Fund's website, and you look at the IMF Executive Board approves a $5.3 billion standby agreement. This is back in 2016. We knew that the end of this agreement was 3 years, so it's 2019 this month. And we also knew that the IMF had some basic fiscal responsibilities that had to happen between Iraq and them before anything could happen. You see what I'm saying? As far as
it's the same as if you go to the bank for a loan, right?
Right.
They're going to say, in order for you to get these loans, these are the things you need to do. It's the same thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just think of it in those terms, but it'll make it easier for you.
Now, I want to read a paragraph out of the SBA of 2016 as it is an applicant to right now and why it's as important today as it was back then. Implementing fiscal consolidations while protecting the poor. The government will continue to implement fiscal consolidation, mostly through inefficient capital expenditure retrenchment, while protecting social spending. So what they're basically telling you is they're going to keep social spending or inflation low, and they're going to allow the citizens to have a quality of life, okay? This will help to bring spending to a sustainable level, given the much lower level of oil revenue. Now, even in a year where they're not having a great oil year, they will still be able to maintain their citizens' productivity. That's also part of the HCL. Meaning that they'll get a little money every year. That's for the whole country of Iraq. All the citizens of Iraq will share in the HCL. The difference between HCL and Article 140 is Article 140 is just for the citizens of the Kurdistan region. I screwed up there. I took the whole budget that they were giving for the Article 140 and dividing it amongst the citizens and telling you guys, look, this is what the rate should be based upon this. And I was right about the formula, but I was wrong about how that pertains to Article 140 and the Kurds. It has nothing to do with one another. That $50 billion that's allocated to them, guess what? It's a one-time payment. It's like paying off Kuwait. It doesn't matter. It matters because it's a responsibility of the SBA, but it's not going to affect the actual revaluation of the Iraqi dinar. And this is why I can prove it to you. Efforts are underway to implement the budget sharing agreement with the Kurdistan region. Underway to implement the budget sharing. They've already told you they're going to share in the budget. The budget's 50 billion. When they did that, they fulfilled their SBA. That's why you're seeing Article 140 new pre-reinstatement, not post-reinstatement. And it's only 50 billion because out of a country that has 40 million people, northern Iraq is the most sparsely populated area in Iraq. Hold on, let me give you the population of that area. Hold on.
While you're looking it up, I'm going to throw three things out super quick. You ready for this, guys? I want you to remember this. The International Monetary Fund, the United Nations Security Council, the World Trade Organization. Remember, in the last couple of months, all went to, Ernst & Young as well, all went to Iraq and said, look, it's time. It's time for you to reinstate your rate. How many times have we seen those articles? And we remember we're jumping up around. Oh, we see this. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. People have to understand that it is. So just one last thing, and that is this. I called my sisters today. They're always those negative Nancy's, and I kind of explained to them in semi-detail what's going on. I said, look, here's the deal. It's a low risk, high reward. Each one of them is going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to walk them through. They're going to spend like $200 to $300 each. They're going to grab about $150,000 to $200,000 in dinars. And I said, what do you have to lose? So far in the past week, I've now convinced more than 10 of my friends and 4 of my family members to just chip in and get like, what is that? What you say the average was? The average dinar holder was about what? 250,000 now? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Dude, that changes your life. Okay? Changes it. So if each one of the people kick in that much, they don't have to believe in it the way I do. They don't have to hold as much as I do. But once it happens, it changes everything about their life.
Okay. The estimated population of Kirkuk is about $1.26 million. If you take 50 billion and divide it by 1.26, I don't know what it equals out to be.
You said the population is $1.26 billion.
Oh, I'm sorry. The population of Kirkuk government is 1.6 million, 26 million. I apologize.
People, not money though.
Right. Million people, not money. I'm sorry. I'm not thinking money. But if you divide that by how much is that? If someone could do the math for me real quick.
Sure,
by 50 billion, 1.26 million divided by 50 billion.
Okay, give me a second here. So 50 billion, here we go. $1.6, you said?
1.26, I'm sorry.
I don't know why the hell it's not doing 50 billion. There we go. Divided by 1.26.
Right.
About 396.85.
Okay.
That's
397 what? Billion? Or million?
Okay, so what it really comes, okay, so let me redo this because I did it different. I'm wrong.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'll make my point when you're done.
Okay. So it's going to be okay, divided by 1.26, right?
Million, yeah, yes.
And that comes out to, yeah, that's much better. I was going to say the other number, I had the right number, but it's off by 1 decimal point. So it actually comes out to 39,682.54.
Okay. 36,000, right?
Yeah.
So
if you're going to round it up, do it up to about 40,000.
Okay, so basically, when you take the population divided by the monies allocated, each citizen gets about $39 million basically a piece, right? Now, some families are going to get 20 million dinar. Some families are going to get 10 million dinar. Each person gets 10 million dinar. If they died or a parent, you get 20 million dinar. But it's a one-time payment. So they don't have to sustain this in their economy for long term. So as it hurts the GDP, or excuse me, the budget numbers, it hurts it, but they've already allocated that money because this was in play. They had to have this settled because it's pre-reinstatement. That's part of the SBA. I just read it to you. They have to settle all those agreements. So if you're talking about, well, this is post RV, RV is a stupid name anyway, but post reinstatement means that they had to settle these accounts. Okay. The Paris Agreement didn't settle them for them. So now they're responsible for that. Now they're going to pay it. Now they've already paid 233 families out of the 500. The other 233 will be paid within the month. Now, the important thing that I want to note for you is if you want to talk about a number that's post reinstatement, then you got to talk about the HCL, because it makes more sense to give the citizens reinstated money, because all they're going to do, those people in Kirkuk, they're going to make all those people in Kirkuk, and believe this, Kirkuk is like the industrial part of Iraq. It's northern Iraq, it's blue collar. Those people all now have to go to the bank and register. Okay? Now they got to get a bank account, right? Now that money is not so much cash as it is digital. That's how they can afford to do it. That's called banking inclusion, right? That's all part of a country's infrastructure to hold the cash and the reserves so it isn't out in expenditure, and make the citizens use the banking system, which is actually controlled by the government, into making the note count lower. That adds value to the currency. Okay? Now,
yes,
if you
want,
want,
inflation is low, they produce less dollars and makes the currency more
valuable.
valuable.
It ain't brain surgery, okay?
Yeah.
Now, what I am trying to say is this. Now, the HCL, which is the revenue sharing for all of Iraq, is different. If they only allocate $50 billion, that works in our favor hugely, because that only pays each citizen about $1,234 a month. Now, I don't expect it to be much bigger, okay? The HCL.
Now, if you were Iraq, wouldn't you pay them out in dinars and then reinstate the rate? This way, then they can get a larger amount in value, or do you pay them post-rate change?
I think you pay them pre-rate change, and let me tell you why. You give them this huge check in the beginning, and then you basically cut that down to a tenth of what they're getting now.
Yep, that's what I think. If you do it post, you don't need to give out as much physical currency.
Correct.
So if you do it, if you do it post, you're going to be giving out a lot more money. So in my opinion, it's like me coming to you. I say to myself, man, I owe Mr. Brando $1,000, but I only got 10 in my pocket. I really can't afford 1,000 right now. But I know tomorrow this $10 is going to be worth 1,000. You know what I mean? I'd rather give it a 10 now. This way I got to pay less tomorrow. I hope that makes sense.
So peep game out real quick. They're going to pay Kuwait probably pre-reinstatement. And you're going to say, why would you do that? Because Kuwait's going to come into Baghdad and build Kuwait City. Okay? They're going to need more money to build Kuwait City than they're going to need for actual reconstruction. Now, the mask is going to be, we're here to help. The Kuwaitis and the Saudis are great at construction. Okay, that's just point. Turkey's being starved out, and you're going to see sanctions on Turkey pretty soon. Okay, you heard it here first. Whatever you want to believe it. But Turkey's going to go under sanctions. With that, Saudi and Kuwait are going to come in and build the brick and mortar part of Iraq bigger than what it is today, bigger than it ever will. Now, other countries will come in, but this is solely made for the region, because the region prospers if another country has a big rate like the dinar does. And because it's a big rate, it's not going to scare off international business like it does in Kuwait. To get business done in Kuwait is very difficult because it's so expensive to do business with. But people know that in Iraq, because these contracts are all done pre-reinstatement, it makes sense for them to go and start, because they're going to get paid three times fold. So they're not going to pay them as much. The contracts are probably exactly what they're paying for, and they're able to pay it because it's already allocated because of a budget in a deficit. That's not brain surgery, y'all. That's just common mathematics and world economics 101. Pay less for something than you should, because when those goods and services, instead of costing $0.1 now cost $5, you can't afford it.
Now, I do want to I'm going to throw a bone out there for people. If you're young and into construction, now, Bechtel Construction is the world's largest construction company. Well, I should say United States' largest. They are now going back in to rebuild Iraq. They were there 2 other times. They're going back again. For those of you who are unaware who they are, it's spelled TEL, and let me tell you why you should be interested in it. Because they pay six figures to their people tax-free if you go to Iraq and do the job, help build their city. Six figures you make tax-free. I just want to throw them out there for you young people that say, heck, man, I'll go do work construction because you don't need to have experience. They need gophers. Gophers are them ground workers, okay? And they pay six figures, and it's all tax-free.
Okay, so now hold on. Let me put some people up on some game. So now we know that construction is going to come into Iraq at a contracted rate, right? We also know that they're going to come in there, they're going to negotiate deals, they're going to pay for their construction. So any new construction, meaning how not housing on the attempt of like apartments and stuff, because that's already been allocated, but like houses or villas or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, you know who's in charge of that?
Who?
Who owns the contract for the housing?
I don't know who.
Joe Biden's son, $1.5 billion agreement.
Okay, so now understand this. The housing contract, he's already paid out $1.5 billion. That means all the now new aristocrats that have more money than they once did before are going to be able to build the homesteads that they once wanted. Okay? So the private sector and the government are going to build just like ours does. State-owned homes, government-owned homes, Section 8, whatever you want to call it, right? That's what the general population of Iraq is going to live in for probably the next year to 2 years. But after the economic reforms happen, that's all going to change to a rentier type of stay and an ownership type of stay. They're going to own land. They're going to want property. They're going to tear down places and rebuild. Now, what does that mean? That's how you know how much construction is going on. That's what they're planning on building to house the citizens, to put them to work. They don't want everybody on the government tit. They want everybody to have a wealth of life based upon that little money they're going to give them, plus their earnings, okay? So if we were smart, we'd buy a construction company and go into Iraq, find us somebody that we could do business with, and say, hey, look, we want to dump $100 million into Iraq. What can we build there? Houses, farms, roads, whatever. Construction will be huge.
People make a lot of money over there as subcontractors.
Mm-hmm.
People, if you know anything about ceramic tile, they usually do pretty good over there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Ceramic tile people, because people like Bechtel. Brian, for the record, yes, Bechtel, Bechdel. You're right, Bechtel Construction. They will subcontract out for a smaller types of work. But a friend of mine went over there.
Hey, Miss BB.
You know how he was making 200 racks a year tax-free doing commercial ceramic tile. Unbelievable.
Okay, hold on. Steven says, I thought some of the $50 billion was the rebuilding of infrastructure as well. Infrastructure. No, it was not. It was allocated for the citizens that were affected by the war and the martyrs that died. Okay, that's it. That's all. And the reason why I'm only telling you guys this, because I want you guys to go out there and tell everybody else, you know what? I know something you don't know. The ACL law, on the other hand, okay, is what's going to pay all Iraqi citizens. That they're not releasing a number for. Now, we talked about the SBA. We talked about the HCL. We talked about the YouTuber that has a disposition that's not to our liking. Let's talk about the last thing. The last thing is this. The reinstatement of the Iraqi dinar is going to get called by somebody. Okay, the actual date. Okay. I may not actually know the actual date of the reinstatement of the Iraqi dinar. That's not my purpose in this. My purpose in this is to gather a group of people, put us in a wealth situation where we can invest our money on platforms that will double, triple, put money into our bank accounts every month that will allow you the passive income and duplicatable. So if you want to take that deal to your friends and duplicate that, you'll make your own passive income. You'll make it as a group, and you'll make it solely because it's duplicatable, okay? Taking your money to Merrill Lynch and giving it to some bankster will not duplicate your money. They're going to put it into low-risk, high-yielding type of things that are going to make banksters money and not us money. The reason why I started this wealth group is so that you could retain and regenerate your wealth faster than 7 years. Most people don't know what the seven-year rule is in banking. If you deposit your money into a bank account and in 7 years with the right type of interest rate, you're supposed to double your interest rate, compounded. I think that we can do this faster through day trading, through swing trading, through doors, through storage, through Iraq, through Venezuela, through Vietnam, through so many other avenues that the last thing you're going to actually have to worry about, because your money's going to earn a different interest rate in an account based upon your involvement in a group. And I know this. I don't care if you're an individual and you go to someone, you're like, I'm a Sam's member. Sam's member pay in bulk differently. People that go to, like, let's say, Fred Meyer. So as a group, your buying power is expanded. Okay. It's not that I only have I have $1 million. I only have 100,000 to invest. Well, I get that, but don't you want to invest your 100,000 and get 3 times the return? And not be waiting years and years like Iraq is? That's the reason why you're
wise with your money.
Right.
Okay, once again, I brought this up before, but that guy that's speaking at Davos, his words still haunt me today. And that is, he said, we have a short-term ride so that we can make money off speculators, and that more than 85% of the people within the first 5 months after what happened in Kuwait and they all became millionaires were flat broke all over again. Think about that. That's 8.5 out of every 10 people are broke within 5 months after getting all their millions. That's ridiculous.
So listen to me, group. And we help our own, and everybody knows that because this is family. We've helped several people. We're going to continue to help several people. We're going to help build infrastructure. We're going to help create more taxpayers. You're going to bring people in. We're going to pull people out. But this is the point. You've got to learn how to multiply your money based upon your own intuitions, not based upon somebody else's beliefs. I want you to put your money where you want to put your money at. Okay? I know that sounds crazy. Let me give you a thought. My idea, and Pimpe's is different. And I agree with Pimpe. He wants to put like 80% of his money into gold and silver and play with like 20%. My thought process is I want to put, let's say, 40% of my money into generating passive wealth, 20% into precious metals, 10% into cryptocurrencies, and cash flow about 10% month to month.
Oh, cryptocurrencies is getting my ass kicked right now.
Well, and that's my point. I want to put more money into passive money than I ever want to do into either precious metals, because I can't spend or eat that, and I don't get returns on that. And I want to put money into things that will get my money back out of. That's my philosophy. No, hold on, Pimpe. That doesn't make my formula right. You're going to take that idea as a kangaroo and say, you know what? I agree with this fits for me, this fits for me, this fits for me, this fits for me. This doesn't. I'm not doing that. Does that make sense?
But you brought up an idea, and I like what you said. Look, we're going to go celebrate in Vegas, but on the very next day, we get together as a group, and then we just kick around some ideas. Now, what you take from that is on your own. But, I mean, I think it's a great way for people who have the ability to really make a difference in their lives and continue that wealth going. Let's go. Let's share ideas together. Let's see what people have to say, what people have to offer. I mean, there's no harm in that whatsoever.
I love the whole idea of involving myself in like a farming system, like the vertical farm that Michael always talks about. I love the idea of involving myself in the dispensaries. I think veterans and other people can benefit from dispensaries. I think it's going to be a great idea for us to go to Venezuela and not only open up, because if Venezuela is going to get invaded, okay, that's we all know that. Venezuela's going to get invaded. We're gonna come in as a group, just like how at that time we will be like the next Halliburton, but we'll do so much more than security. And we're gonna go in. We're gonna infrastruct a oil and gas facility. We're gonna infrastruct oil tankers. We're gonna infrastruct gold. We're gonna have contracting because we'll have already practiced in Iraq. You see my point?
In the area, I wanted to touch bases on with George, and that is this: look, if we get enough investors together and we back up mining company. Now, for those of you who are not aware, a huge gold deposit was found in Iraq. Nobody has so far gotten the right to mine it. So I would like to jump around with different companies and see who it is that's going to go in and get into that if they can. If that's the case, that's a company we probably want to jump behind,
Or Pimpy, I have an idea. Why don't we just formulate our own company, establish it?
Why not? You can. That's a great idea. But you definitely gonna need. Let's bring some experienced people with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great idea. Actually, that's probably better than my idea, to be honest.
Well, my whole idea is this, guys, about wealth. Because this is a wealth building channel. This is not just about Iraq. The idea is we want to own things and we never give percentages. We only pay out revenue. I don't ever want to pay in percentages. I don't want to give up 10%. I want to know what it costs. If the cost and we can afford it, we're going to pay it. We don't share. There's no percentages for other people outside of our group. Our group makes all the money and we pay out what we owe. Now, if we have to pay it yearly, so be it. And you know what? Your what's called your gross margin on your investment is going to be 10 times what you would have made if you'd pay out a percentage. You see what I'm saying? No percentages. We want to own.
Mr. B.
Yeah?
I wonder if I can use my little buddy to help us get a foot inside the inside track on being able to go over there mine the gold. That's possible,
It is possible. And we ought to exploit that. We ought to exploit that opportunity.
Talk to you about that.
Yeah, we ought to.
I might. The next time I talk to him, it's hard to catch. When I do, I'm going to drop that bucket in his ear and see what he says.
Okay.
Brian, real quick, I want to answer Brian's question.
Okay.
Look, you're asking if you should go do that. Here's my thing. You're a jack of all trades. My thing is this. If you're young enough to do it, I say go for it. Look, go do 2 years, 3 years in Iraq. It's safe now. Make the big money. It's tax-free. And then come back. You know what I tell people? Go over there, work harder than anybody will for the next 3 years, and come back and live your life better than anybody else could. Yeah, seriously, because you have the money to do it.
Now, last but not least, let's talk about the last factor. Let's talk about the high road, okay?
All right.
Now, I don't want anybody to hold animosity towards different YouTubers or groups, okay? We are a gang, and we are gang. And this is the group that I'm rolling with till the wheels fall off, okay? I don't want you guys to feel some type of way because of certain YouTubers' actions. But what I do want you to do is do this. Defend your gang, okay? That's A. If you believe in something, you defend it. Number 2, don't believe what me, April, Pimp, Mr. Brando tells you. You question it. You have questions. Ask. If you don't ask the question, question everything. And if I tell you, give me $100,000, we're going to invest in a ghost mine in Arkansas, you ought to be like, well, Mr. B, what's my GMROI? What do I got to put in? How long is the investment for? When do I get my money back out?
With this info? Where did you get your information at?
Right.
What are you looking at?
Right.
How did you determine that? That's what everybody should be asking. So this way, not only are you feeling more confident in the things we're telling you, but you're also able to go validate and verify the information on your own. That's why when I posted that thing, I threw in there 2 or 3 links so people can go see. Now, I'm not just talking out my ass. You can actually go there and see it for themselves. You know what I mean? And
a lot of people don't understand this. Every article I read, there's an article and a link. I verify 2 articles at least before I read the link. I'm not just reading articles to read them. I verify them. I saw this twice. It's true. Sometimes sometimes the information is great. Sometimes I put in filler. But the idea is that it's provable. And I'm going to...
You know what I said in my comment below on that post, Mr. B, is this. Look, we're not going to have it right 100% of the time. Most of the time, we'll have a bulk of the information right. But don't get me wrong. We leave room for our own speculation.
Right.
Only because nobody does know 100%. Well, nobody knows 100% for sure. Let's be honest. But because of that, we can say based on all these things that support why we feel the way that we do. That doesn't mean you're going to agree with us. This is why we say, based on everything that we looked at, based on everything that we read, this is why we feel the way we do and why we think this way. And if you don't believe me, here, go to the article and look for yourself and then tell us what you think. We're open to other people's opinions.
Right.
As long as they agree with Pimpies, it's all good. No,
oh, shit. Oh, excuse me.
Hey, I wanted to ask you earlier. I sent you a little package. Did you get it?
No, Monday.
Okay.
Now, here's the last thing I want to tell y'all about being right or being wrong, okay? When you're not relevant and you're not popping or you're new, okay, when I was new, okay, when I was new on YouTube, and you can ask Pempe this. One night I got in a fight with TNT Tony. I got in a fight with TNT Tony. I got a fight with TNT Tony on Twitter, and I was battling. And this
you
little.
Ask me, I'm not on Twitter.
and listen, and I hooked up with somebody that's a blog site, and they were like, "Oh no, Mr. Brando, we love you, man. You good, man. Give us your info, man. Make us, help us out, man. We see you doing things, man." We had about 1,000 subs, we probably had like 1,200 subs, and I was like, "Dang, man." I was feeling myself. I was really smelling myself.
I'm in the business and feeling myself.
I was like, man, I'm the ish, man. I know. I got this. And hold on. And Pip, remember I called you? And I was like, Pip, you told me blah, blah, blah. And you were like, Mr. B, man, you can't take everything, and everything we do, we got to verify. And I was like, man, I said something. I never should have said it. And I picked on somebody that was bigger than me in this platform. And you know what? I won the battle because I was right. But I lost the war.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I remember you guys bringing it up, but I did go on the backside of it and then excuse the terminology, but no, you were right. And then I went behind you on that other platform and bitch slapped those people all over the place with truths and facts. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But the idea was that's what Jeff is doing. Jeff is trying to pick on somebody bigger than him because he feels he's shrouded in truth. But the truth of the matter is about platforms is this. It doesn't matter about being right. I learned that, y'all. It took me 8 months. It took me damn near a year to learn this. It doesn't matter if I'm right or if I'm first. Do you know what it means? What really means is important is that I take your coins and I make them double, triple, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. That's why you are Patreon. You're not Patreon to hear about Iraq or this SBA. You're Patreon because you have a deeper sense of wealth. And we, as a wealth building group, are going to build it infrastructure first. Now, I thought about this, and I'll have to ask Ms. BB. I've already talked to Pimp about it. I already talked to Mr. Frazier. I talked to Daz. I talked to Beth. I talked to Babe. We're going to cut this group off so big. I'm not letting every Tom, Dick, and Harry in here.
Especially Tom, Harry, Dick. That's worse.
Mm-hmm. We're not letting everybody in here. What we're going to do is we're going to cut it off after so long. And I think the metric for that will be...
So here's what I say. Let's have that meeting, Mr. B. Let's go celebrate in Vegas. For those individuals that are serious, they'll show up the next day, hungover or not. Let's kick around some ideas. Because while you're there and people are talking, you're going to be able to figure out who's serious and who isn't. You know what I mean? We need to zero in on people are.
Well, it's not about that. It's not about that. Is that I had this premonition about this. And I'm not one for dreams, but my idea was this. If I let too many in after the fact, they weren't gang. They're riding the bandwagon. Okay? This is gang right here, 200 people. We may just end it when the reinstatement happens, we may cut it off. For being Patreon.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And not raise the value.
For me, there's projects that I would love for everybody to get involved in. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to bring it up again. But I would love to at least be able to say to them, hey, what do you guys think about this? And see if we can get them. And they don't have to be monetarily involved. I don't want people to think that's what I'm talking about. That'd be nice because they got the room to do it. But mostly actively involved in their communities to do what I want to do. Okay.
Well, we've gone long enough. We've shared some ideas. We've definitely touched upon some points. The main thing is this. We're not haters. I don't care about that. And remember this about Jeff. A broke clock is right twice a day. A broke clock. Unless it's digital. And it don't have an AM PM sign. So I'm not hating. I'm celebrating. And I don't think he's right. I don't think I'm right. I think, you know what? I'll be right when I go to the bank. I love you guys. I want you guys to multiply. I want you to have a great evening, okay?
God bless.
God bless. And we will see you tomorrow evening with the news.
Ciao, Missy. Say hi.
Ciao, Bella. Bye.